Welcome to the Nursing Post podcast, all nursing all the time with Ashley Moore and Rosa Horsley. Valentine's Day is around the corner, so today we're focusing on love, specifically self-love. Our goal is always to inform and start conversation.
I think the past year has opened Pandora's box in more than one way. Self-care is important to your mental health, and for those who did not have a good regimen this past year, I think the pandemic was probably a little bit harder for you.
Mm-hmm.
In this episode, Rosa and I are going to go over 3 topics that we found to be kind of important for self-love, and those are meditation, music, and meaningful connections. There are many ways that you can start loving yourself, not just those 3. But what we're hoping to do is spark something in you to set you on your own journey to figure out how to love yourself more.
The definition of self-love from the World Health Organization is defined as the ability of individuals, families, and communities to promote health, prevent disease, maintain health, and to cope with illness and disability with or without the support of a health worker.
So I did find a small study that was done in 2020 about self-care or self-love.
Mm-hmm.
I found it to be a little bit interesting, but probably pretty true when I read it. 1 in 3 Americans feel bad about taking time for themselves. 67% of Americans want to spend more time on self-care. 40% of Americans feel that they rarely have time for themselves. 3 in 10 parents wish they had spent more time taking care of themselves. However, 39% feel guilty taking that time. And the number 1 reason for skipping on self-care is work.
I think these are accurate.
I did as well. It was a very small study that was done. Of course, we'll link that. But it was just, when I read it, I was like, yep, I could see that. I could see that.
I could probably check like half of these
Oh,
boxes,
absolutely.
if not more.
So we are going to start with meditation as one of the things that you can do for self-care to work on you in 2021. I thought this was really important because you can do this and it not cost you anything.
No, meditation is free.
Yes.
Well, let me take that back. You know how I say everything's always about the money. There's somebody out there selling you the ability to learn meditation. However,
right,
it is free.
Right. You can meditate at home
at no cost.
Yes. So meditation has been around for thousands of years. And during meditation, you focus your attention on one thing. You try to eliminate the constant thoughts that may be overwhelming your mind or causing you stress. And meditation is meant to give you a sense of peace that can benefit both your emotional and your overall health. Research suggests that meditation may help people manage symptoms of conditions like anxiety, asthma, cancer, pain, depression, heart disease, hypertension, irritable bowel syndrome, sleep problems, and tension headaches. So meditating can have a direct impact on your physical health.
Absolutely. I agree with that.
So I'd like to go over a couple of different types of meditation. So you have guided meditation, which is guided imagery or visualization, which that's something that I like.
Absolutely.
And this particular method of meditation, you form like a mental picture of a place, a situation, something that you find to be relaxing. And you try to use all of your senses to really put yourself in that spot. So you might light candles to help with smells, sights. There might be sounds, textures. You can make it a whole thing. You can do this with a guide or a teacher, like at a actual place that does guided meditation. Mm-hmm. There are things that you can find on YouTube. Google it. I'm telling you, it's out there that you can use to help with this. Or you can just do it with yourself. It doesn't have to be with another person.
Absolutely.
It may be easier when you're first learning meditation to do something like this because it gives you something to focus on. There is mantra meditation. You would either silently repeat a calming word or phrase Some people actually speak it out loud, just kind of in a soft tone. And that's done to help prevent other distracting thoughts. Because you sit in a quiet room for about 30 seconds, your mind just goes crazy.
Yeah, for a lot of people, especially if you're suffering from anxiety
Mm-hmm.
or, OCD. I mean, at times at work, I have to sit there and tell myself, you got this.
Oh, absolutely.
How many times have we done that? Said, hey, you got this.
Yeah.
It's going to be fine.
Yep.
This
Absolutely.
too shall pass. Whatever. I use all three, and I say, Lord Jesus, a lot. But
she needs all the help she can get, y'all.
Girl, I be calling on Jesus so much, he puts me straight to voicemail because he can't take my calls anymore. But what I'm saying is, like, we all have those little, mnemonics or thought processes or self-calming things that we say either out loud, which I do a lot, or to ourselves in our head.
Mindfulness meditation is a type of meditation that's about living in the present moment. So in mindful meditation, you broaden your consciousness, which allows you to be able to be more mindful throughout the day. So you can allow your thoughts and emotions to be there, but what you want to do is say, okay, I know I'm feeling that. I'm going to let it go. And you just let the emotion pass without fixating on it or judging yourself for having that response or that emotion. There is another thing called Qi Gong. It's spelled Qigong. And that practice typically combines meditation, relaxation, physical movement, and breathing to reestablish and maintain balance. And this is actually integrated in a lot of martial arts to be able to control your breathing, control your thought process. And you do that through this movement and body and mind.
Mm-hmm. My husband does martial arts, as you know.
Yes.
And he's really big into this, the whole chi, balance, and discipline.
Yep.
So he's really big into that.
To tag on to that, you have Tai Chi, which I think is probably a little bit more well known. It is also a form of gentle Chinese martial arts, and you perform self-paced series, postures, and movements, and it's slow and graceful, and you do your deep breathing during that time. And so really you're taking that time to focus on the movement and the breathing versus everything else. And that's a form of meditation.
I don't know if anybody's actually seen it, but it's actually beautiful. It is definitely an art in of itself, but it kind of reminds me of like an art of dance.
Oh,
like,
yeah, that's a very good comparison. Yep.
And if you're watching it, I get enthralled because it's just so beautiful and graceful.
There is transcendental meditation, and it is a simple, natural technique where you silently repeat a personally assigned mantra, whether it's a word, a phrase, or a sound in a particular way. And it allows your active mind to settle, and it helps to quiet your thoughts until you experience silence and a peacefulness at a completely different level. And this is something that I found to be monetized more than the other meditations that I've researched.
Do not pay to count to 10.
I'm
sorry. When I'm thinking about this and you're saying,
yes, it was very monetized.
I mean, come on, just count. When I get, a little passionate and fiery, sometimes I have to count to 10. Don't pay to count to 10.
Well, of all of the research that I did on meditation, that one is the one that for some reason was very much more monetized.
Wow.
I don't know why. And then lastly, one that we're all familiar with, yoga. And that is where you perform a series of postures and controlled breathing to develop a more flexible body and a calm mind. And when you move through the poses, it requires focus and balance. And you are encouraged to focus less on outward distractions and just being in that present moment. I love yoga. It's very calming.
I do too. And, we have a friend that actually does yoga.
Yes.
To help with stress and anxiety.
Mm-hmm.
And she will swear by it 100%.
Well, and this is one of the things that I think is so funny. I've spoken with physicians about meditation before, and years ago it was very taboo.
Mm-hmm.
But meditation has been very well studied in the scientific community, and it works.
I think as science is progressing and moving forward, and we're understanding a lot now, the whole mind and matter situation.
Yep.
These were taboo things. A lot of these things were considered Eastern medicine.
Right.
Yes. And it's so funny now how it's come to the Western side of the world.
Right.
And I find that totally awesome. And there's science behind it.
There is. And there's a lot of things that we don't understand. And just because we don't understand something doesn't mean that it's not real.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
And so I think that we have to be open-minded to the fact that, yes, I don't know everything.
Imagine that.
And just because I don't understand this doesn't mean it doesn't work.
Absolutely.
But a lot of people will meditate for about 20 minutes a day.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's like an end goal. A lot of people say start off at 5 minutes. And then once you
kind of work your way up.
You work your way up. Because sitting silently for 20 minutes,
that would cause
me a long
anxiety.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you would sit there thinking about all the other stuff that you have to do.
Yeah. You so know me. You so know me. So one of my favorite self-love and self-care things is music.
Mm-hmm.
And I think anybody who knows me, like really knows me,
yep.
I listen to any and everything. As long as it's not techno or country, I'm down for whatever. Music and brain activity have been studied extensively over the past decade, so much so that it has now its own place in science. Neuromusicology. Man, that's awesome.
That's great. I
didn't even know that word existed, but
I did not either.
I mean, imagine that. It's awesome. We have firmly established that music can have a direct, physical, measurable effect on the brain, and one trial showed that surgeons work much faster, more accurately, and with fewer mistakes when they have music playing in the background. I think that's awesome.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I've been in ORs, plenty of them. And if I walk into one and it's quiet, there's a problem.
Yeah.
The last thing you want to walk into is a quiet OR.
Everybody does things differently. I have to, you kind of have to remember that. And, I'm one of those who has to have background noise. And then there's so many people that just don't function that way.
Oh, absolutely.
So music can also have a big impact on your mood. A study in 2013 showed that music can significantly lower cortisol levels. That's the hormone that produces stress.
Yep.
And so since cortisol can cause anxiety, weight gain, muscle loss, and general body tissue degeneration, this is a pretty big deal. I'll tell you, I listen to music every day at work. All sorts and types of music. Sometimes I feel sorry for the people that work for me. And then sometimes I just really don't. So like this last week, I've been really into like listening to my Latin music and my Spanish music. Even had one of the physicians try to salsa, or I should take that back. It was really bad. I would say a halfway cha-cha. But but I mean, it does something to you. Literally, music does something to you.
Yes.
So some of the benefits of music is it improves your mood. It reduces stress. Listening to relaxing music has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety in healthy people. So just imagine the benefits that it has in somebody that's unhealthy. It lessens your anxiety. It improves exercise. There's one song, like I'm not joking, probably all the songs from the 80s are probably good exercise songs. That's no judgment. I'm just saying, like, you can actually work out to that kind of music. And it improves memory and cognition. I mean, you're consistently repetition. And we all know that. That's why they, in education, they say, you have to learn the cusp, the core of it, but with repetition, you'll remember it.
Absolutely.
And that's what music is. It's a song. It repeats. If you keep listening to that song, you'll memorize it. So research has shown that the repetitive elements of rhythm and melody help our brains to form patterns that enhance memory. And it also helps people with Alzheimer's recall seemingly lost memories and even help some maintain their mental abilities. We've done an episode on Alzheimer's before.
Yep.
And what we know about this particular disease is that it first focuses on your short-term memory. So you can imagine that if your patient is in their 80s and you're playing music from the 50s or 60s, they remember that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They do.
And if they don't remember the song, they remember the way the song made them feel when they listen to it. It helps ease pain. In studies of patients recovering from surgery, those who listened to music before, during, and after surgery had less pain and were more overall satisfied.
Yep.
It provides comfort. Who hasn't had like a rough patch or a hard time, and then you listen to a particular song that was able to relate to your current situation?
Well, I just think about it. When people go for just a basic MRI, they're listening to music.
Yeah, I am claustrophobic. I've had an MRI this year, and I'm not gonna lie to you. If I didn't have that music, it probably would have been more difficult for me than it already was.
Right.
To be in that machine.
Right. I mean, and that's just a basic small piece of how this can really affect and make things either get done or not get done.
Absolutely. I felt so apologetic to the tech. but apparently it happens a lot more than I realized, because she was like, honey, this is all day, every day. And she's like, it's a real thing. So don't be ashamed. Don't be embarrassed. You're not going to be my last one today. So, you know, she was like super cool about it. And I was like, you go, girl. I appreciate you. Really, I do. It helps children with autism spectrum disorder. Music therapy showed improvement in social responses, communication skills, and attention skills. You know, I know my child, you know, he listened to a lot of classical music. I love, like I said, I'll listen to anything as long as it's not techno or country. And we listened to a lot of classical music when he was growing up. And my child is on the spectrum. So he loves music to this day.
Oh, yeah. I think music can play an important part in a lot of people's lives, and giving them that opportunity to put their headphones in and listen to music during a stressful time can really help them cope.
Absolutely.
Another one of the topics that we're going to talk about is meaningful connections. And when we say meaningful connections, we mean like our social interactions and how it can impact our lives. If we go back just to the basic hierarchy of your needs, social connections are in there. This is a basic foundation of life.
Maslow's hierarchy. Yeah.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So, Rosa, do you want to talk a little bit about the meaningful connections?
Absolutely. There is significant evidence that social support and feeling connected can help improve overall health. So actually prescribing like a prescription connection can help patients to add not only years to their life, but also their health and the well-being of those others, and prolong life and years. So,
and quality years, not
absolutely.
We're not talking about quantity. We're talking about quality. This whole episode is about quality of life.
Absolutely. So deepen your existing relationships. Your friendships, they're like communities, right? They nurture you. They support you. When your friend is struggling, you know, you're reaching out and you're giving them comfort and support and asking them what they need. And,
absolutely.
You know, because that's what friends do. But then when you're in need, they're also the ones there for you doing the same exact thing. So you just want to make sure that you are giving out the same kind of support that you're getting from them.
Right.
Period.
It's important to do that. And if you have a relationship where you're the only one giving,
it's not a relationship.
That's not what I would consider a meaningful
and we
relationship.
talk about that here shortly. Our emotional and physical well-being, it needs to be a demand. Like we shouldn't be putting it to the side. It should be a priority, and we need to double down and invest in our friendships and our relationships that we have. There's nothing wrong with outgrowing friends.
No,
sometimes that happens. And there's nothing wrong with that. People's trajectory in life change, situations change, people change, and there's nothing wrong with growing apart. But don't grow so far apart that you're unwilling to make new social connections.
I think that that's important. And when you develop new hobbies or things that you like to do, you'll meet new people and develop new relationships.
Absolutely.
And that's okay.
And that's totally fine. So work on building new relationships and be deliberate about whom you choose to spend time with in your life. Like, this is so important to me.
It really is.
The most important part, I think, of this whole podcast of self-love and self-care is this one point that I really want to make. Okay, we need to be more deliberate about whom we choose to spend our time with. Author Tim Ferriss once said, "You are the average of the 5 people you associate the most with, and you become what you focus on and the people you spend time with." How many times have you heard your mom say you are the company you keep? Your dad, or your dad say you are the company that you keep.
Well, anybody. I mean, I think it's really important that we remember, if you want to be a certain kind of way, then you need to surround yourself with people who are that way.
Absolutely. If you want to be successful, you are going to want to gravitate to a circle of people who, 1, are successful,
right,
2, attempting to be successful, and have similar goals and interests as you do, right?
Absolutely. And if you're around people that are always negative, you're going to become negative.
So make sure you're surrounding yourself in 2021 with supportive, positive people that lift your mind and your spirit, and stay away from those toxic people. And we all know what toxic is. Those Debbie Downers, those negative Nancys, those Karens that are out in the world. Stay away from them. Toxic people tend to drain you of your energy. They make you negative because they're negative. They're critical. They'll make you critical. They intentionally bring you down. So if you have a friendship that is one-sided, an all-take and a no-give relationship, that is a toxic person. And it's okay to cut them out, cut them off.
Absolutely. You want to surround yourself with those who you admire and respect as a person. People that support you and raise you up, and they make you feel like, or make you strive to be a better self.
Yeah, a better version of yourself. Yeah. Some of us are givers.
Yes.
And we give way too much of ourselves. So we just need to remember to take that time to give to ourselves and to make time for ourselves in a world where you want to be in and with those who you want to surround yourself with.
Right. You have to learn to take care of yourself. And when you take care of yourself, the people that you are surrounding yourself with, they're going to get the best you that you can be.
Absolutely. I agree 10,000%. And women need to support women a lot more often.
Absolutely.
So this is probably my second most important part of this that I'm going to say. Literally, it is a dog eat dog world. And unfortunately, women eat women too kind of a world. You know what I'm saying? We're not as supportive of each other as we should be, which is kind of crazy because we're all kind of striving to the same goal. So the more women that help each other, the more we can help ourselves. And there are more times than not when we see women as, you know, the competition instead of our community. So we have to kind of reset our mindset. We all have the same interests and goals. We want to feel comfortable with our choices and we want to feel validated. And you make time to nurture your friendships and you surround yourself with the right people and you support your fellow women. And in time, you're going to build yourself a community that will last a lifetime.
And that's very true. As 2020 comes along, and I know with some of the episodes that we've done in the past about self-care being incorporated into your well-being, that's going to happen as a movement.
Absolutely.
So learning to take care of yourself is going to be something that we're going to do more and more at home. And one of the things that I found when I was researching was through the WHO group, which is the World Health Organization, and their ideas of where we're going with self-care and self-love. And I wanted to share that because some of these we've already shared in the past, but I really want to
reiterate.
I do want to reiterate because it's not just us and our thoughts, because I didn't even know that this was even on the WHO website.
Yeah.
And so it really kind of validated to me what Rosa and I have researched and our thoughts of where medicine is going and how it really does take self-care into a whole other context. So self-care interventions offer solutions to support achievement of all three of WHO's triple billion goals to improve universal health coverage, reach people in humanitarian situations, and to improve health and well-being. So I'm going to go through a couple of things here that I thought were pretty significant. There are going to be self-injectable contraceptions to reduce unintended pregnancies annually among the 74 million women and girls living in low and middle income countries. That's, to me, one of the biggest things in medicine that we've done is oral contraceptives.
Absolutely.
I mean, that is a huge impact on everything.
And I just think women in general, we need to care more about ourselves and our bodies. And I honestly feel it should be our choice. Make it more accessible, make it more affordable.
Right.
Give us a choice.
Self-sampling for HPV, which is the human papilloma virus, which causes cervical cancer. We talked about that in a previous episode, and that would improve screening and increase the number of new cases detected annually and reduce mortality. So yes, new cases may go up, but the deaths will go down because we're going to catch it faster. Self-testing for HIV can ensure early access to care and treatment if needed, and reduce the mortality rate of 770,000 people who died last year from AIDS. We also did an episode on AIDS that you can listen to. Self-collection and samples of sexually transmitted infections such as chlamydia and gonorrhea can improve testing and linkages to treatment if needed. We did an episode on that as well.
Because now they're super. They're not just STIs anymore. They're super STIs.
And lastly, self-management of medical abortion to reduce the number of women who die every year from unsafe abortions. So we have not done an episode on that.
No, but it's in the works. I have it
it is one that we both want to do.
Absolutely.
Yes. If you want to learn more about those specific things, we have gone over almost every one of those in a separate podcast. But this goes to show you that we're moving towards doing more at home and caring for yourself more at home to help with your overall health. And so there are so many different things that we can do to impact our daily lives, and taking care of ourselves is going to be key.
Absolutely. I don't see this pandemic ending even in 2021. I hate to say that, and I don't want to put a negative spin on it, but I'm hoping that 2021 will bring us to a point where we are more self-aware.
Absolutely.
And we are able to practice self-love and loving of one another.
As always, we will link our references to our website, thenursingpostpodcast.com. Be sure to subscribe to our podcast if you like listening to this episode. You can find us on any of your favorite platforms. Please leave any comments or thoughts in the comment section. And thank you again for listening to the Nursing Post.